Alright, so, yeah, I mean, you saw the title and thumbnail. I am back doing Dream Hangars videos. I know a lot of you really missed this series, and I feel like it is something that I can do again, but with a few minor changes. Most notably, I am on my main account right now, not on the test server. But anyway, yeah, without any further delay, let's get into this guy's hangar. So, he has a Revoker Seeker, which I'm actually going to show the process of me building each of these things, because I don't have every implant or whatever, so I'm not necessarily going to be able to take implant suggestions, but I will show this building process to kind of explain which implants I think are worth going for. So Seeker bonus damage, the Revoker damage, obviously, like Seeker you want to stack on as much damage as possible, so usually weapon damage and ability bonus damage. After that, if your weapon has a really short reload time, then you can go for cooldown. That's pretty good. And the Seeker Warp range is really, really helpful for taking care of, especially players who are hiding in the back with problematic builds. A lot of the times, bots will not do that, but players will. So next up is Revoker Surge. I mean, this is a very meta hanger, so don't get, like, just so we're clear. Going to put epic Revoker damage here. Dash distance, super useful, almost necessary, I would say, along with cooldown and duration. I would always recommend, because if you are a Surge versus Surge Revoker build, which is very common, by the way, like Revoker Surge is really common, obviously, right? If you're Surge versus Surge, whoever has the longer ability duration basically ends up winning, guaranteed. It is an EMP mech, so I don't really care about having the highest amount of damage output. There's no strategy between like which one I put the 16 and 8 on. I could put the 16 and 8 on the Seeker. It's kind of just whatever. They're basically the same in my mind. Next up is Starmark Placewing. So here it is, damage and reload along with jump distance and ability cooldown. Now, I used to use radius instead of cooldown because Placewing's base cooldown is pretty darn short, but I've found some use in having a shorter cooldown just to be able to jump more often. The reload is a must. The damage is just, nice, more damage, obviously. But I've been seeing a lot of people actually saying that the radius implant is a must-have for Stormwreck. It's really not. Don't even bother with it. I have not used a radius implant in a competitive hangar in a very long time. So, yeah. In terms of the shield damage implant, you could make an argument for that, but most of the time I don't bother. Next up is Deathwalker Stormwreck. Now, if you don't have two legendaries and you have a Neymar, I would put the Neymar on the Deathwalker, just so we're clear. I want duration and cooldown. Cooldown is pretty classic. I mean, you put that on basically anything that you're able to put it on, just because, obviously, especially a Deathwalker, which has a relatively long ability cooldown. The damage, like I said, is just nice to have. Stormwreck Reload is a must-have, and the duration, especially on Deathwalker, is very underrated. This is going to make it so that it's nearly impossible for someone to just time out your ability. They're going to have to send you back. And then in terms of mods, you can see my most stacked out one is Lacewing, secondarily Surge, and then Seeker. Deathwalker literally just has an HP mod. And then lastly, an Outlaw. The Drunkel Skin. An Outlaw with pod guns. Okay, so pod gun damage and reload, ability cooldown, obviously, and foul play range. This is the best that you can get, I think. The ability range is really, really nice for taking out Deathwalkers and such. 100 meters is most often just barely not enough range, so you want like a little bit further than that. I find even like 110 meters is typically a good range. And this goes for a lot of things. Kind of the same reason I use the range on Seeker is because a lot of things actually happen at just over 100 meters range. Or I guess a better way of saying that would be that a lot of things that happen, you can stay in cover and use your ability at just over 100 meters range. So like trying to get within 100 meters usually forces you to come out of cover, and that's not usually a good thing. And yeah, in terms of mods, just perimeter multilayer and then a couple other random ones. In general, I always say perimeter multilayer legendary. Don't skimp out on the perimeter multilayer, just get the legendary. The hardened hull is the next one that you're going to want to get the legendary. And then the other two, get galvanic hull first, if anything, but you know, just get the epic ones. I don't think it's worth investing in legendary for either of those. There's a couple mechs that have an exception for that, but like, it's not really a big deal. But anyway, yeah, like hangar composition wise, very meta, very strong. The only build that I would say is not particularly meta is the Podgun Outlaw, obviously. And I've used this build competitively. I just didn't really like it. I don't think the results were particularly great. But yeah, I'll see if I can find a match versus a player, and then we'll kind of change up the hangar a little bit, make some suggestions, and we'll run it again. Alright, real quick, this is the monthly giveaway video. 10 random winners will receive 1,000 Acoins each. In order to have a chance to win, you need to leave a comment with the keyword ID : followed by your in-game ID. I do have a bot collect these IDs for me, so if the keyword is incorrect in any way, then your entry will not be counted. You can also enter through Discord, where the rules are much simpler. Just make sure to read the pinned message first. Submission deadline is the 19th, and prizes will be sent on the 25th. Good luck, and let's get back into it. Tut smirsh. Alright then. Okay, so I am going to start with the lay swing, because I don't like throwing my Surge into the void. Surge is a pretty classic starter. I could do a lot of damage, especially if I went into the middle with it, but it's a very risky play, especially if I'm playing by myself. I don't tend to like to do that. So I'm going to start with something a little bit less risky, guaranteed for me to be able to kind of scout out what's going on, get a few kills, and then I can make a choice to spawn something else. Speaking of Surge, that doesn't surprise. Oh wait, no, that's an Eclipse. That's my bad. He's not coming for me, right? Okay, no. Didn't think so. Where is he, though? It's interesting. I don't see him. Oh, there he is. So what I'm doing is, I'm just kind of dragging my cursor around. It'll stick on someone who's in stealth if they're visible. Like if someone's technically looking at them, but they're in stealth, then my cursor will stick to them slightly. And so I'm just, ow. So I'm just kind of waving my cursor around, essentially, trying to find out where it sticks. And then from there I can use the 3 hotkey, which is just the attack button. Prompt thing. It doesn't actually make your bots attack, but it does mark enemies who are in stealth, so it's very helpful. They're kind of getting an eye on things. This guy's dead, though. Bye-bye. Alright, well. That's perfectly fair. That's so unfortunate, dude. Oh, no. Because I had my ability again in like half a second. Alright, well, I mean, I do know that he has that, which is, you know, it's good knowledge for me. Because I can just wait for him. Surge is a pretty obvious counter to... what's its face? Seeker? They have 4 beacons on me, though. I'm about to freaking lose, I think. 89, 90, 91. Yeah. 94. He's just gonna chill. I wanted to wait, save my ability, but didn't matter. Oh, he was out of mechs, dang. At least I think so. I think it was just 2 bots left. See, what I should have done in that case was pay more attention to how many kills he had while I was kind of staying in the back slightly, especially with the lace ring. That is the risk of not being aggressive right out the gate. But, you know, the benefit of not being aggressive right off the bat is that if I spawned Surge and then just immediately got surged by some freaking bot or something and then just immediately lost it and got no kills with it, that's, yeah. You're at much more risk if you're being aggressive, so I don't like to do that. Alright, so in this case, I would actually say I would replace the Seeker, and I would replace it with either Nomad or Eclipse. Eclipse is obviously very meta, but I'm gonna go with Nomad just to kind of expand on a point that I'm going to make here. Let me first put on the implants. Dash distance on Nomad is very good. Revoker range doesn't really matter. I'm actually going to put the worst damage on this. I'll explain why in a second. And then I'll put the legendary on you. Now I could min-max this even further by putting the double 12s on Surge and then the 16 and 8 on Nomad, because I think the 16 and 8 has slightly less damage output due to the 8 being only rank 5 in my case. Essentially, the goal here is to replace Lacewing as a starter mech. It's a safe mech to start with in terms of like not dying, but that's because it's very passive and it's not able to do certain things. And it's most likely going to survive a long time, but quite often at the expense of beacons that you need to be pushing, stuff like that. So the Seeker was basically an assassin. It's kind of an extra, you don't really need it. Having the support role from this could be nice. You also have the range from this. This is your only decent range, really, so I would keep it. But the point of the Nomad is actually to give you an alternative starter mech. Something that's going to be able to apply pressure. Something that's going to be pretty good right off the bat, going to be able to grab beacons, going to be able to contest a center beacon maybe. But it's also not going to last as long by design. So it is basically a suicide mech. A throwaway Surge is how some of my clanmates have kind of described it. And especially if you're playing solo, if you're playing with a team, then you could probably start with something else. But especially if you're playing solo, using this as a starter is going to be a much safer way of doing most of the things that you'd normally do with a Surge without actually spending your Surge or putting your Surge at risk. So anyway, yeah, let's get into another one. See how it goes. Hey, let's go. Sadist. Same map, too. Alright. Perfect example in that case. Still gonna go for this one. And I'm still going to go for this other side one as well. He's right there. He's got a blockade multi-layer. Blockade does usually mean that the person doesn't know what they're doing too much. Though it is a multi-layer, so maybe he just has it on a specific mech. Dude, stop! There's another Solus back there, isn't there? Okay. Got him. Shoot you! Go in, kill you. Go in. Opening the settings really quick like that will stop your dash short. If you ever wonder why people do that, that is why. Very helpful for certain things. Ah, crap. I mean, one thing I am kind of realizing is that I don't really have anything I'd be comfortable spawning in the center with. Which is a, fixable issue, of course. It's always something worth considering. You don't always need one, but it's a good idea, generally. This guy's staying off on the side, you see. I'm actually going to, kind of put myself in the fray. See, I had plenty of time. Didn't even have to worry about getting timed out or anything. Whoops. Excuse me? Alright, cool. Don't you see my ability, bro? My cooldown? Oh, he's got an EM Panther, brother. You know, I'd love to know where all my teammates went. Besides on vacation, which is clearly where they went. I can't let them keep the center beacon for too much longer. I can let them take it for some amount of time, but not for too much longer. That guy does have a Panther. He's not going to be super comfortable pushing me, but he will. He will. Just give it time. Brother, the Solaces need to go. Whoever cleared Solace as a bot mech is honestly, they need to be fired. Go away. Yeah, see. Called it. And I'm dead. And now he's gonna now they're gonna take that. And now I'm gonna lose again. But I do have Surge. I can kill all three of them, but it's not gonna matter. So, because that one guy still has 4 of his mechs left. Alright, yeah. I mean, never mind the fact that my bots didn't do shit, but whatever. Like I mentioned in the last match, I did realize that I don't really have anything that I'd be comfortable spawning on a middle beacon if I needed to protect it. Except for, maybe a Surge in some niche situations where there's only like 1 or 2 people close next to each other. But what you have is 2 aggressive builds and then 3 passive builds, none of them being particularly defensive. This is your dedicated tank, but it's not going to be a defender so much as it is just going to be applying pressure a lot. So even though Deathwalker's really, really good, I'm going to replace it with a minigun bastion. And I'm going to get rid of reload and put on cooldown. Because if I spawn this thing, more than likely it's not going to survive long enough to get a full magazine out. But I do want to deal as much damage as possible, so I'll keep this spread. But anyway, yeah, this is, again, not so much to say that minigun bastion is going to be better than a Stormwrack Deathwalker. The same thing with Nomad, right? Like, I could have used Eclipse, and Eclipse is better. It's just to kind of prove a point that even using a mech that's arguably worse can do better if you're trying to use it in a specific situation that none of your other mechs can currently be used in. In this case specifically, I'd probably get rid of the Outlaw at this point, but I'll keep it in there just for the sake of argument. Sadist again. So I'm going to start with Nomad. I'm going to go straight for their side beacon. I'm going to figure out where he is. Alright, yeah, he's basically over here too. What did he start with? That. Gotcha. I can kill him without much issue. And I can hopefully capture this. If I can capture this, then we have a really big leg up, honestly. Yep, now I can spawn this, okay. Am I gonna regret not having reload? Yeah, probably. He's right there. He does have a blockade. It's going to be a little bit sparing with my ammo here. Yep, keep track of him while he's going outside of the... Oh, he just got obliterated, bro. Alright, I can kill that guy. This has good effective range. If you have the recoil implant maxed out, really nice. Highly recommend. Well, that sucks. Okay. That's fine. Didn't really need that. Well, I was hoping to dash in here, but whatever. Basically the same difference. He does have Helix Track. Alright, so now I can afford to be aggressive. Just continue putting pressure. I don't need to be defending beacons, really. Because even if they take one, like in this case, I can always spawn at a different one and apply pressure from there. You have to kill this Surge, because he will probably smack me. Let me just wait for my insanely low ability cooldown. I think the guys are around here. No. Yep, there we go. Only 7 kills, but, you know, like, most of the enemies didn't even die. The match was incredibly short. And that was mostly due to the Nomad change, actually. It was a pretty good showcase of, you know, the Nomad and the Bastion. Again, not specifically as builds, but just as, like, general build types that you're looking for, right? Like, I wouldn't want to have spawned a Stormwrack Deathwalker there. Like, I probably could have spawned a Stormwrack Deathwalker there and maybe have survived, but it would have been much easier for them to rush me, right? As soon as they kill me, I'm forced to teleport back. Where am I teleporting back to? Right back on the beacon, so they're just going to kill me again. I don't really have any protection. If cost isn't an issue, I would probably go with Blockhorn, Minigun Blockhorn, instead of the Bastion. You know, I left the Outlaw here because it was pretty obviously the worst out of all of the mechs that you originally had. So I'm just going to